Right, we're live on another Hoggout, and it's getting to the end of the T20 World Cup. And looking forward to it. There's been a few upsets. Australia getting beaten by Afghanistan. There will be a few happy faces around the world, except for this one here. Not happy about that, but they've got their work cut out against India later on today. And England going through after smashing the USA, and South Africa just holding on against the West Indies. We've got plenty to talk about it. So let's get through the break and then start Hogs Out after it. Anupam Ambati, thanks very much for joining us, and a few others will be joining us as well. We've got a live chat coming on with a couple of fans, and looking forward to that. The T20 World Cup, it moves on to St. Lucia tomorrow, and then today, a couple of hours' time. Australia playing India. They need to beat India to make sure that they stay in the top two, because Afghanistan are playing later and they're playing Bangladesh. And if Australia can win, all of a sudden they put a little bit more pressure on Afghanistan, who have to go harder against Bangladesh. But if Australia lose today, Bangladesh might be able to get through too if they improve their net run rate, but I don't think that's likely to happen. So let's look at the matchups today. There's going to be some spin out St. Lucia, and we've got the Indian spinners there. Kuldeep Yadav, is he going to play, or are they going to go with Siraj against this potent Australian batting lineup, who are a little bit under pressure at the present moment? And I think they are a little bit tired as well, because they've got a shorter travel period, or turnaround period and travel, than what India are. So the Indian spinners could really capitalise against the top order of Australia here. And Kuldeep Yadav, I'm really enjoying what he's doing. I think they've still got to play him out St. Lucia, even though it might be seamer friendly. I still think you need the leg spinner against Australia, and you might drop Jadeja or Axar Patel to bring in a third seamer if the pitch looks green. I'd probably drop Jadeja at the moment. I think Axar Patel's offering a little bit more. Let's have a look at the spin options from Australia. They've got Zampa, they've got Glenn Maxwell, and they've also might play Ashton Agar, but I don't think they'll do that again. I think they learnt from Afghanistan the other night that they need Mitchell Starc in there to get early wickets. And Mitchell Starc against that top order of India, I think he's a bit of a threat. And I think the Indian top order and you fans over there might be a little bit nervous if Mitchell Starc starts to play and get that ball swinging in St. Lucia. And then you got Josh Hazlewood at the other end. Actually, let's get and move on to the pace attack. There we go. There we go. That's a good pace attack there. We've got Marcus Stoinis there also to help them out. Ashton Agar, we've got to swap him around for Mitchell Starc in this pace format. But I'm liking that with Mitchell Starc in there, and Marcus Stoinis. He's more like a medium pace, but can be a bit of a spin option with the cutters that he bowls as well. So he's got that variety there, that he's a mixture between pace and spin, if you can understand what I mean, on these type of wickets. And the Indian pace attack, are they going to play Siraj tonight? There has been talk. I heard Kumbale stating that they should rest Bumrah and bring Siraj in. I would not be resting Bumrah tonight. No way. I'd keep him in there. I'd be thinking about bringing Siraj in, especially with the rain around. And it's a little greener, a little bouncier there in St. Lucia, and you want that extra option. So for me, keep that there. Now, we had a couple of games today. Let's get into them, because I've got some people there sitting to wait to have a chat to me. It was hang on. Rain threat out St. Lucia. It's going to rain down there. And I'll tell you what, the nervous Australians are the ones who are a little bit worried. India aren't. And Afghanistan will be hoping that there's a lot of rain down there in St. Lucia as well, because they might be a little bit overawed after beating Australia. They might go out a little too hard against Bangladesh, and they might expect it to happen against Bangladesh now after their big win. So they'll be hoping for a little bit of rain so that they can go through the semi-finals as well, and not have much pressure on them against Bangladesh. All they've got to do is win against Bangladesh. All right, who have we got? What's the next talking point? We got there, AK. Yes, the West Indies versus South Africa. Now, this was a good game. I just think the West Indies didn't use Moti correctly. Yes, he got hit by Klasan, but Klasan was out, and I thought they could have gone to Moti again, and that's 16th over, and then saved Joseph for the final over. I just think with the way that the ball was holding up over there, they just got it wrong out the back end. The captain was not confident going back to his spinner, and it's only one player. It's one over. He's done the job for the rest of the tournament. So that's where the West Indies fell into trouble today. And then the other game, it was England taking on the USA, and England really wanted to stamp their authority. They wanted to make sure they had their net run rate in total control, so that if West Indies did beat South Africa, and both of them had a better run rate than England, well, they would have been out. So England made sure of that today. Right, we're not going to muck around. I want to get on and speak to the guests because they've got some wonderful questions. And, hang on. Thanks, AK. Bringing this up. How often has it happened that there's been 3 hat-tricks in a tournament, in a World Cup tournament? Chris Jordan, a wonderful hat-trick yesterday, and he got 4 wickets in the over. That final over of his against the USA. 4 wickets in that final over. Fantastic performance by Jordan. And then we've got Pat Cummins, who's got 2 hat-tricks in 2 games. Has that ever happened before? I tell you what, things are happening in this T20 World Cup. Didn't expect the USA to get through to the Super 8s, and we didn't expect Pat Cummins and Jordan to pick up hat-tricks either. So well done to those 2 particular bowlers. Rightio, AK, that's enough of our talking points. Let's get on to the special guests. Here we go. Where are they? Who's going to be on there? Oh, Chator first. He's from Nagpur. How the orange there? How the oranges in Nagpur, Chator?
Yeah, so fresh oranges are there. I would love to serve you fresh oranges when you come to Nagpur.
I tell you what, I can't wait to get back over there and taste those fresh oranges. Now, you're studying. You're outside the library at the moment to join me.
Yeah.
What are you studying?
I'm preparing for the PhD exams, sir, in biochemistry and bioscience.
Biochemistry and bioscience. I tell you what, that's a smart little lad there. Good luck with that. Did you ever think about pursuing cricket?
I thought, but because of the conditions and because of the all circumstances, I couldn't done that. So.
All right. So you've done what Netra Varka from the USA has done. Gone over to America, studied, get a degree behind him, rather than pursue the game of cricket. Smart boy. Smart boy. Raghuv, how are you going, mate?
Hi.
You're in Bangalore?
Yeah, I'm from Bangalore. Yeah. Nice talking to you. Yeah, good to be in your show.
Nice talking to you. Now, I'm going to have a bit of a guess. You're in Bangalore, so you've got to be in the software industry, don't you?
Yeah, obviously. Most of it.
No, all right, everyone out there. I had a bit of a chat to both of them before we got on, so I knew what he was what he was on about. I'm just going to quickly go over here. There's a Mike Lee. G'day, George. How you going? Hope you're well, mate. I'm well. Don't think the Aussies will make it through, unfortunately. They should have tanked against Scotland. Mike, that is, well, they'll probably be looking back there and thinking that they should have let Scotland beat them. And that would have cost Mitchell Marsh a couple of games, but at least they would have gone through to the Super 8. So, or at least they would have had a better chance to get to the final. So, yeah, Mick, I like the way that you're thinking there. Hope all's going well with you. Rightio, who's going to ask me the first question out of you two? I think we'll go with Raghuv because he's on screen now.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, just a thought, like the way the Australians played yesterday with Afghanistan, where they're like resting Stark, and it's so unlike Australians, like, not having that need to, go hard. And wanting it so much. So just surprised with the way they took it all, right?
Yeah, I was very surprised that they didn't go with Mitchell Starc, but I think they looked at the conditions and they thought, right, we might go with the off spinner. But the other thing with Mitchell Starc, remember earlier on in the tournament, he had a bit of a calf problem where he cramped up. So they might be thinking, right, we're traveling a lot at the present moment. We just need to rest him up. And because there's probably the conditions are more conducive to spin, we might use Ashton Agar here instead of another Quick. So I think that's why they went that way. But the other thing is too, why would you win the toss and put Afghanistan into bat? Because all they had to do, the two openers just had to take their time. They knew that if they got to 140, 150, it was enough for their bowlers to defend. And if their opening bowlers did really well in the power play like they did, then the spinners can control the middle order. And who thought Golberdine would get 4 wickets? How well did he bowl? Just those little swingers nipping away. And I love that catch of Noor to get Maxwell. That's where it changed. But I like your thinking. I think when you're in the Super 8s, it doesn't matter what the conditions are. You've got a fast bowler there that takes wickets early on. You don't take opposition teams lightly, especially Afghanistan, especially when we've got a good record against them as well. So it was poor decision making there across the board from Australia. But I just will say one thing. Mitchell Marsh out the toss was a bit unsure about the conditions as well. Remember, they got there. They haven't had time to train or look out the conditions. They've just rocked up. And so I think they were a bit dumbfounded there. Chator, your question.
So I have a small question. My question is where is India is lacking in the semis and the finals? Wherever India is complete to the semis and finals, it lacks some things. They lack some things in the winning momentum, and they can't make it up to the final, or they can't lift the trophy. So, according to you, why is it so?
I just think they haven't got over the line. I think it's one of those things. I think it's a bit like Afghanistan. If you watched Afghanistan against Australia yesterday, there were some moments there. There was one moment where Naveen got angry with a couple of his fielders. And that emotion comes out because the pressure's on to win. All of a sudden, you're thinking about winning rather than just going through your processes. And I think some of the younger players, inexperienced players, might go or have a bit of that in them as well. Just their mental their mental approach to it gets affected. I think if I'm looking at this Indian team right now, I think if I was playing against them in the finals, the only player I'd probably be worried about would be Arshdeep Singh. And if they play Siraj as well, even Kuldeep Yadav to a certain degree as well. Those three particular players, if I was management, I'd be making sure that they're switched on and just give them a role to play out in the middle. And just stick to the basics. Don't worry about the result. And I think that's why Australia have had so much success, is because we go out there and not think about the result. We just control what we can control. Every now and then we do get ahead of ourselves and think about that, but we pull each other back in, because you can only do what you can do at that moment. And I think sometimes a bit of anxiety gets there as well. So it's all mental stuff rather than the physical stuff, because they know what to do. They know how to do it. It's just a matter of doing it. Now, Raghuv, I'm going to go back to you.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I think in today's match with Australia, like, who do you think really they're going to be very much worried about, or not getting into, the under being the ex-player that they're more worried about? Is it Bumrah or Kohli or Surya Kumar Yadav? Because the thing is that Indians have been really, like, this particular World Cup has been really good, because it's not just about one player. So it's all like combination of players. It's really working out. I feel like you also pointed out in the beginning of the show that Jadeja is being a very important thing that he has to click. If it doesn't, you have to move on with another player, like Chal or Siraj. They have to bring in. So just like, who do you think Australia is more worried of today? Not being quick.
Oh, look, I think on this type of wicket where there's a little bit more bounce, and it might be a little bit of seam. I think the one that I'm always worried about would be Pant. He can take the game away from you. I think he's probably more of a worry than what Maxwell is to India, because I think India have got a bit of a trump card to Maxwell in Bumrah, whereas us to Pant, we don't really have a trump card to him. He's awesome against spin and awesome against pace.
And he's better with Australians as well. He's better with
exactly
Australians
right.
as well.
Yeah, exactly right. So that obviously would be worried about Bumrah. Kuldeep Yadav, if he plays, I don't know whether we'd be overly worried about him. I think because the ball's not bouncing as much over there in the Caribbean, I think going to the sweep shots, and a lot of the Australians are playing both a conventional and a reverse sweep there. So I think we can counteract Kuldeep Yadav quite well. But basically it just comes down to Pant, Bumrah, and Hardik Pandya would be someone you're looking at as well, because his bowling's come on since the IPL. His batting's come on. And before the game started, or before this series started, that would be one player that you think, right, we can control him. Dubey, we can control him with pace. So their lower orders in a bit of trouble. And if Bumrah is on song, we can be a little bit more conservative to him and really attack Hardik Pandya as the other seam option. So for me, it's Pant, Hardik Pandya, and Bumrah that are the big worries. And even Axar Patel with both bat and ball. I love him. I'm just going to go to Anupam here. He's gone back in the comments. Your thoughts on Afghanistan fielding versus Australia's fielding yesterday? I thought Afghanistan fielded better than Australia. Australia have not been that good in the field for the last couple of games. When I was making that comment, it was more about Naveen and a couple of other players just getting a little bit frustrated when there was a bit of a fumble or a missed field. You can't afford to do that out in the middle. You just got to let it go and just concentrate on the next ball. And that's what I'll be looking forward to seeing if Afghanistan play, or when they play Bangladesh. But if they get through to the semi-finals, how will they change their approach? Will they be able to control those big moments and not get overawed by it? So that's one thing I'm looking. Now, Chator, what's your question?
My second question is, if you ever get a chance to coach any team, which team would you like to to coach, and why?
If I wanted to coach a team, I would like to coach the USA, actually. Because they're up and coming, but I think there's a lot of development there to be had as well. And I probably not so much the USA main team, probably their next team, their junior team. So try and get them into an under-19s World Cup and create a little bit of development there. So that's a really good question. If I wanted to coach in the IPL, it would either be Rajasthan Royals or Kolkata Knight Riders, the two teams that I played for. I like the Rajasthan Royals because they play a bit of money ball scenarios. They go for players that you don't see, and KKR are a bit like that as well. And I like KKR's mythology, where they sort of balance their team around Narayan and Andre Russell. So those three teams are the teams that I'd like to coach if I ever had an opportunity at that level. That's a good question. Raghuv, have you got another question?
Yeah, sure. So I just want to understand from being an Australian, like, how is it for you guys? Like, because considering the fact that Australia, in the situation they are in right now, if there's any other team, they would have said like they're like not having much possibility to win this match. But being an Australian, it's because of Australia that people give them a chance. So I'm just thinking, what would their mentality be getting into this game? Is it like more like going hard and say doesn't care about what's the outcome, or just being more cautious and doing? Just want to say that mentality, because that is what sets them apart from all the other teams. Is what I see. How they approach the game and how they think about it. They play a lot of mind games as well above the field, but then still, when it comes to the game, like I'm just curious about how they think about these things. So it's totally different from. I mean, it's different for each team, and they're way ahead of other teams. So just want to understand that.
Yeah, look, I think they got a bit ahead of themselves against Afghanistan, actually. So for me, I think they'll be sitting there going, right, that was a bit embarrassing that we got beaten by Afghanistan, and the way we went about it wasn't our style of cricket. So watch them turn around when they play India in a couple of hours' time. They'll be a lot more switched on than what they were against Afghanistan. And I felt that they took Afghanistan a little bit too lightly. And the other thing there on top of it is they seem like they're on a roll. They've won the T20 World Cup. The Test World Championship, the 50-over World Cup. So they're looking for three titles that no one else has ever done. So I just felt that they might have just been getting a little bit ahead of themselves. When I say a bit of ahead of themselves, I think they thought it was just going to happen, and it didn't happen. And I think
I think somewhere they're missing some X factor in the T20. I feel, because the same thing happened in the 22 World Cup as well. Like they knocked out in the initial phase with New Zealand, and they missed that X factor. Maybe the fact that the lower down the order, the power hitting is not going as well as they expected. I think even the semi-finals of 21, it was that Wade innings that kind of pushed them to the finals, and then it was great. But then I think somewhere the lower middle order of the power hitting is not kind of working out for them as well with the Tim David and things.
Yeah. I think that's one thing that India will try and expose today too, is going into this game, their lower order is not firing. Glenn Maxwell had another good game last night, but I think against India with Bumrah, I think Rohit Sharma will be trying to leave Bumrah as late as possible and make sure he attacks Glenn Maxwell. So I think India are a better balanced side to really exploit Australia's weaknesses. Tim David hasn't fired, Matthew Wade hasn't fired, and we've got a really long tail. So this is an opportunity for Australia to find that they're on the back foot right now. They're on the back foot. They've got a lot of work to do tonight. They have got a lot of work to do, and they've got to turn it around. And I'm just worried that they took it too easy against Afghanistan. Yeah, great point. Chatur, I'll go to you quickly, and then I'll get one of these questions on the side here. Yep.
My last and my most important question is, what do you think what is the role of the IICs in pushing the emerging teams like Afghanistan and USA? You've seen in the last couple of games as how USA and Afghanistan showed their game when they played against the big teams. So what is the ICC role in putting them in a big stage to show their big game against big teams? So that to create a great atmosphere in case of competitiveness and in big leagues.
Yep. I think you can put Bangladesh in there too. I think they haven't been exposed to the big teams as much as well. I think the ICC have got to find more resources to promote the game in these particular areas. We need Afghanistan to keep going. We even need to invest a bit more into the West Indies as well. We've got to keep them going as well, and the USA. So we've got to find money and financial resources in those particular regions. I think the West Indies and America can work together well to grow the game. It's a great start now, but they've got to get it. They've got to get into the juniors. They've got to get in the schools, and they've definitely got to get into a couple of universities as well in America. The universities is probably the important thing, because if you look at the big sports there, the university is probably more popular than the major leagues. They get a lot more following. So that's something that the ICC have really got to look at, looking at the universities in the USA. It's a good question. Afghanistan on a political front is a hard one to crack, because are the players able to get back there and play? Are they able to promote the game? So that's going to be a bit of a roadblock for the ICC to get in there. But I think they should be investing more, or Bangladesh should be a bit better than what they are. They've got the resources to do it. USA, Netherlands. I think the next country that they could look at too is a country like Germany. I think there's a bit of upside around there. It'll be good to get the game into more of the European countries as well, because they've got a few good grounds there where the game could flow. So the ICC have got a bit of work, but just concentrate on the USA, Netherlands at the moment, and try and keep Afghanistan, West Indies and Bangladesh at a high level. Don't try and spread it too quickly, too far. Good question. Good question. Right. Yeah. Right. Who have we got here? Gurpreet. How you go? Yeah, I got Gurpreet here.
Yes.
Will be the good practice match for India against Australia, the big pressure match. I think he's thinking that they might get through to the final. I think this is going to be a big pressure match for Australia. I don't think India is so much under pressure. And Australia have got a shorter turnaround, which is a big worry. And then if there's rain around, all of a sudden Australia have got another headache. How hard do they go? And if they're batting first, if they feel as though they've got to go harder, they might lose early wickets to a formidable Indian attack, and that brings Arshdeep Singh into the fray with his swinging deliveries. Now, Raghu, have you got another one, Raghu?
Yeah, sure. So, I think, do you think that the Australia went with Mitchell Marsh captaincy after what Stark did? He touched everything, turns gold. So, was that a right decision, or what was the thought behind the Australian board to do that?
I think they wanted to break the captaincy up with Pat Cummins, give him an opportunity to rest in one of the formats throughout the transition of cricket around the globe at the moment, because you've got 3 formats. I think that's one. I just think Mitchell Marsh is the glue of the team as well. He's got good humour. He's got good banter, and you've got different personalities within a team. He brings everyone together. He's a good people man. So that's why he's the captain. He's got a good brain on his shoulders as well. He's captained WA teams to success. I think it's the right choice. The only worry that you have with Mitchell Marsh being captain of a team, especially an international team, is his injury history. Is he going to be on the park all the time? So that's probably the only concern that you have with Mitchell Marsh. But I think he's the right man for the job. I think he's done quite well as a captain. You're just looking at the last couple of games. They have faltered, but I just think it's more that they're tired than anything. And if you look at the coach's remarks, old McDonald, he's basically said the main thing in the next couple of days is getting rest before this game. Nothing else. So for me, the performances haven't been because of poor captaincy. There's no way in that. There's no way.
I mean, it is just that the thought about trying to. I mean, no team, like for example, even India or any other team would do that. Like let's say having a 3-comp captain who won a Test championship or ODI World Cup, and even the IPL. If he took the Hyderabad to final, so having that thought is really different. But then it just shows the trust about the cricket board has on each individual player. That brings a lot of character from a person. That's really nice. But then it's so that's what I said. This is what makes Australians so different, because it's not that you see that everyone does the same, so it's totally different from the other one. So yeah, just that when they they get into this World Cup, I was just a bit surprised to see that they didn't go with Pat Cummins. So yeah.
Yeah, well, that's a good point. While you're making those comments as well, one other thing came to light as well was Pat Cummins was no certainty to be in this 11 because we've got Nathan Ellis there as well, and Nathan Ellis has probably got the skills that you require as a fast bowler in these wickets over in the Caribbean. If he was in any other team, he would definitely be one of the 3 frontline fast bowlers that you'd have in your team over there. So that's probably another reason why Pat Cummins has probably not been named as captain as well. So yeah, good thoughts there. Chator, have you got another question?
Yeah, so the last question. There is many things happening on the internet. Like someone is saying, the leagues matches are affecting the players, like they're reducing their compatibility with each other. So they when they are playing in the team as a team, they are not showing their character as they used to show before league matches. And someone's are saying that league matches are increasing their the stage competitiveness, and the bigger leagues give you the big chances. So how do you look on these things, like, like the importance of the league matches for the players?
When you say league matches, are you talking about T20 tournaments that are around like IPL
Yeah,
or yeah?
Big
So
Bash
you think
IPL.
that's so you think that's affecting so people think it's affecting the international stage.
Yeah, some people on internet,
Um,
like
yeah,
some big cricketers said that.
yeah. I think there has been a bit of an effect there. I'll go back to when we were playing. We didn't play IPL, so when we played against India, Pakistan, we could be in their face, and there was really no consequences there because you didn't really have strong relationships with the other players on the
Yeah,
opposition team. But then, having the opportunity, luckily, to go and play IPL and then meet these players, you start to form those friendships. I think that's more important than what we had when we were playing because one, we're getting adjusted to different cultures. We're going globally. It's a global game. We're showing the community. Well, the game's showing the community that multiculturalism can work together. So
yeah,
I think there's more benefit with these T20 tournaments than not. I prefer having closer relationships with opposition teams than not, because at the end of the day, we're all playing cricket. We're
yeah,
all there trying to entertain, and we're all trying to make a living out of the game as well. And you only play for a short period of time. You're going to have relationships with these players down the
yeah,
track. And that's the that's the crust of it. But the other thing is too, when you're out there playing with each other and you're playing with against people that you're still going hard, and it's more like you're playing against your brothers in the backyard. So you play it
yeah,
in that sense. So I'll go back to Queensland. When I was playing against Queensland, there was a lot of Queenslanders in the Australian team I was playing. When I'd walk out, they'd be into me like no tomorrow, and then we'll be having a barbecue that night. That's the way it should be. It's like you playing cricket in the backyard. You don't let your mate beat you, do you?
yeah.
So yeah,
But
that's how we.
does that
Yeah.
does that reduce competitiveness between teams, like in opposite teams? Does that affect?
No, no. They'll be out there to win for their country. The Indian players will be. There's so much pressure on them from the supporters. The
Yeah,
Australian players have
yeah,
got a reputation to uphold. The England players,
yeah,
they're out there. They want to prove a point because they're sick of getting beaten by Australia all the time. That's in the longer format of the game, and they've started to excel in white ball cricket over the last 10 years. So yeah, there's all that competitiveness in there, and but I still think it's great. My first Test match, the fast bowler just died recently. He debuted with me. We never spoke. We never spoke. We just shook hands. How you going? How you going? And for me, that's bloody sad. You know, that's sad in a sense. Yeah, and we're both the same age, so yeah, that's where it's that's where IPL cricket has really had a big effect, and I'll go with the PSL and all these other series as well, because we get to know those cultures, and I think it would be great if the BCCI could let a couple of younger Indian players come and play in the Big Bash, just to have that cultural exchange as well. It's yeah, no, it's a great one. Yeah, good question. Raghuv, have you got another question? Now I get emotional. Yeah.
Yeah, I do have one. Like, so, you see that this World Cup has been really exciting, not just for the fact that how polo friendly the wickets have been, like to bring the competition also a bit closer and things, like both with the USA and also the West Indies. So, do you think, because these flat pitches produce games, but that's not like as close or as nail biting as even the one just ended, South Africa versus West Indies as well. So, do you think that's how the game should be, more for the promoting the game as well? So, what do you think?
What I think is each venue should have its own characteristic. Yeah, I don't think you deliberately make wickets for certain results. I'd like to see a variety of wickets around the globe. I don't want to see matches where there's 250 being scored every day, but I don't want to see matches where there's 120 scored every day as well. I want to have a little bit of a mixture, and I think it's good for cricket. I think the best games for me is a bowling team defending a low score. I really enjoy that contest. It's good for the bat as well. Who are those batters that are going to stand up? And when you've got those variety of conditions, you sort the weed out from the chaff as such. You understand that saying, don't you? So the better players are always going to be able to adapt.
Correct.
That's why Boomer is so good. That's why Hazelwood's so good as a bowler. That's why Rashid Khan is probably one of the better spinners that you ever see. And that's probably why Richard Pant's one of the better batters as well, because he can take you on in all conditions. And I'll even go as far to say the way Gurbaz batted against Australia the other night, he's gone from there to there for me. He's really raised the bar, and he should be getting a big IPL contract next year, because the way that he executed yesterday was sensational. It just shows that he's adaptable. So for me, I'd like to see varying conditions around the globe. What would you like? Actually, that's a good question for both of you. Do you like the higher scoring games, or do you like a variety?
No, I think this World Cup
basically
turned out to be really
I like the
great.
variety. There's equal opportunities.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, Raghav, please go on.
No.
Yeah, I think
I'll let Raghuv go. Yeah, Raghuv, you answer first.
Yeah, I think this particular World Cup was a big testament for that. Like, it was, even though the USA pitch, the New York pitch was like not so batting friendly and things, the stroke picking was really difficult, but still you were able to see the effort put in by the batsmen to score runs. So that was really nice to see and fresh to see compared to what we recently saw in IPLs and other leagues. So that was really good to see that, and you really want people to test their skills. So like in terms of batting and things. So with so many things going with the batsman's way, with respect to a lot of decisions and everything in these days in cricket. So you see these bowlers getting into picture makes it more interesting. Even today's match with West Indies and South Africa, where I thought the game was done and dusted, like till the last 5 overs. When Roston Chase came and bowled those 3 overs, I was surprised, and that really pumped up to the game, right? So you were able to sit back and see, okay, what's going to happen. So that was really nice to see. I think will be a good example for the game to promote as well. So you want that close finish, and you want that people to be entertained till the last ball and see that. So that was really good.
Yeah, the other thing with these low scoring games, it brings the fielding into it as well.
Yeah.
Good fielding in. Chator, what were you saying about that particular question?
Yeah, like Raghav said, there should be the equal opportunities for the both the teams and for the both the bowlers and the batters wherever the ground is, and it creates the really, I mean, the really hard entertainment purpose, and it gives so much the intense entertainment as well as the interest into the game when it's equal, when the opportunities are equal for both of the batsmen and the bowlers.
Yeah. Yep. Perfect.
Yeah.
Right. Imran Kaka, talk about Shaheen's captaincy. We're talking about Pakistan there, I think. Not sure where we're going with that one. Who would Imran be talking about with Shaheen, you reckon?
I think maybe the fact that regarding the PSLs and the last New Zealand tour that he was captain or something.
Yeah, yep.
Yeah.
No, I think sometimes you've got to have a bowler as captain because they're a little bit smarter than the batsmen and they know what they're doing and they can set their fields. I'm just going to quickly go to Austin Dakuna. Austin, how are you going? Hey, Hoggy, who do you think will India prefer to face in the semi-final in Guyana, England or South Africa? Virat Kohli Classic against the Aussies today. Hey, Austin, pull it in, rein it in. I think they'd rather play South Africa, actually, in Guyana. Yeah, I think they'd rather play South Africa. Who do you guys think India would rather play?
I think it doesn't matter at this point because you have to either way face one of them in semi-finals or finals for sure. So get them on. I think it'll be a good revenge if if it's England in the semi-finals, so you could take the revenge for the 2022 ones. But yeah, I guess I would like to have England and India to be in the semi-finals. So that it'll be like South Africa and India in the final. So that'll be like good. I don't mind India or South Africa lifting the trophy. So yeah.
All right, you're not going for India.
No, I'm saying it's okay. If not India, I would say South Africa because they've really been dried up for a long time now. So I think they're really coming up now because you see the off late they won so many close matches. I think they're really showing up the character now. So I think they deserve it after a long time with so much of things going against them in a lot of World Cups. I guess it's time for them to have one.
I will be. Just before I make my point, Chator, who do you think they would rather play, England or South Africa?
Actually, my honest opinion is I don't mind whoever plays against India in semi-final, but the point is I don't want Australia to be in the final against India. Sorry.
That's all right. It could be India. I mean, England versus Australia to play off for the final anyway. So I know where you're coming with that. Going back to Raghu's point there with South Africa. South Africa, they've done really well and they've been very competitive, especially with the political stuff that they've got to have in their team as well with players, and the way that they've handled that and still stayed competitive. I just think it's fantastic. It's an attempt to grow the game, spread the game, as well as still be competitive at international level. I just think it's absolutely fantastic. Now, guys, we better get going in a minute. Have you got a last question each?
Yeah,
I don't
just
have
one.
last question.
Hang on.
Go on.
I'll go to you, Chator, because you might have to go to study. Then Raghu after that. Yeah.
Yeah. So I have small recap for you. Whenever you comes to Nagpur, just I'll be really happy to serve you fresh oranges from Nagpur.
That's good, mate. I can't wait for that. I love my orange juice as well. So thanks very much, Chato. Thanks for joining us as well. I'll go to Raghuv now for his final question.
Yeah, just one so I just wanted to go back to your 2007 World Cup in West Indies. So you played and you won the third time the World Cup. So how 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 was it to be part of that moment that you won for the third time and being part of such a strong Australian team? What was the feel like?
Oh, the feeling was great. I think I think it was Gilly, Ricky Ponting may have been one, and Glenn McGrath.
Yeah,
They were involved in all three. I was involved in two. Um, it was
but
just
as
awesome.
a team, you're winning it for the third time. So like that
Yeah,
emotion,
yeah,
then
yeah. Oh, look, it's exciting just to it's exciting just to be part of it. You know, that's a bloody good question. Really, that is a really good question
no,
because both.
does it really feel? The one question is, does it really feel boring at one point? Like you are like at the peak of the time, so you just feel like it's just another match or something like that. So you're winning a third World Cup at a streak, and how does it really feel? Like you really get that fatigue, or you're saying like, it's okay, or how do you carry yourself in those kind of situations?
I'll be honest with you, mate.
Yeah,
Nerve wracking, very nervous, because there's expectation, and because you've won the last two, all of a sudden there's expectation that you're going to win this one. I, there's a lot of nerves that go through the change rooms. It doesn't matter whether you're winning your third one or you're going after your first one. But all teams feel those nerves, and players feel it differently. And remember, Gilly was having a terrible time of it in that 2007 World Cup, and then put a squash ball in his glove.
yeah, you did mention
Um,
that. Yeah,
yeah, and that all comes down to nerves and superstition and thinking, right, I've got to find something to get me going here. I've got to find something. Nothing's working, so he went back to the squash ball. Yeah, and while we bat, I found it very hard to sit out and watch, and I get talkative. So I sort of had to go and try and occupy myself in the back room. So and that the amount of energy that you do wear down or wear yourself out with all this nervous energy, it's just that excitement, that expectation. I think the hardest thing after a tournament, any tournament, whether you win it or you lose it, is when the
okay,
tournament finishes. Uh, and it's a bit like when you finish your study, or you've got a massive project, and you're working with a group of people with that project, and then it finishes, and then all of a
yeah,
sudden, 2 days later, it's gone. You're home, and you go,
empty.
right, yeah, you feel empty. I think
Yeah,
that's
right.
Yes,
the I think that's the feeling. But yeah, winning three in a row, I've never really thought of it like that. We're just nervous, just absolutely nervous. But both finals that we played in, we played against India. We put on a big total against you guys, and then
India,
the
yeah,
rain came and looked as though we had to start again the next day. That was a big worry. And the same thing happened with Sri Lanka. But with Sri Lanka, the rules had changed where we'll just continue the game the next day. And full credit to Jarboard and that night. He just said, let's not waste our time coming back tomorrow. We're not going to win this game. And we played under
yeah.
lights. And Andrew Simons was bowling to, I think it was Bass.
It's a yeah, correct. The lower end,
Yeah, yeah,
lower, yeah. It was eight
yeah.
down or seven down. Yeah.
And the ball's pushed out to me out point, and
Mhm.
I'm sort of chasing it to the boundary. It's not going to the boundary, but I'm sitting there. I've gone to pick it up, and it wasn't the ball; it was a moth. That's how dark it was. So
That's
I could see the ball. Yeah. So anyway, right. Anupam here. Just the last question here. How big a role Stuart Law had to play with USA cricket from here on? I think Stuart Law will get a long-term gig with the USA. I think that will be very important. But the one thing, and he'll do a good job there as well, he's got a lot of experience, and he's captained Queensland over here in Australia for a long period of time with a lot of success. I think the one important thing for the USA is to get the right coaching staff in their juniors and hit a couple of universities to get a university competition going. Right, Australia are playing India tonight. Chatur, who do you think will win?
Definitely India's gonna win.
All righty, well, you better get back to your study. Raghuv, who do you think is going to win?
Yeah, I think it's going to be India. So even not if it's going to be pressure on Australia. Yeah.
Yep. I think there's going to be a lot of pressure on Australia. Short turnaround. I'm not confident, but I have to go for Australia. Do you think Afghanistan or Australia will go through to the finals then? Chatur?
I think it will be
Afghanistan have a lot of chance if India plays well against Australia tonight. So Afghanistan has a lot of chance, I think.
Right, yeah. Raghuv?
Yeah, considering the fact there is a rain and I don't know how big can Australia win, even if they win. I would say it's advantage Afghanistan right now.
Oh, yeah. Rightio. Oh, you're making me more nervous. I'm just looking out. Afghanistan don't have a very good net run rate. Yeah, it's.
But then they're facing a Bangladesh team who doesn't have a very big batting order, so they have a very good chance.
They have a good chance. Yeah. No, I'm nervous. Anyway, guys, thanks very much for joining me live on Hoggout. Pleasure.
Thanks.
Good luck with your studies, Chatur. Good luck with the software industry, Raghuv. And thanks everyone else for joining me on the comments section. It was fantastic. Australia versus India tonight. I'm not confident, but Australia hopefully will win and prevent Afghanistan going through to the semi-finals, who will definitely beat Bangladesh. Thanks very much for joining me, guys. Have a great night. Enjoy the cricket, and hopefully rain stays away so it's a close contest. See you guys.